Hello everyone, this is Takao Ashikaga, work for Japanese Center for Validation of Alternative Methods, JaCVAM. Thank you for the opportunity to introduce our validation study as a case study. As you may know, JaCVAM has a lot of experiences on validation study. Using a few slides, I will share our experiences on the validation of skin sensitization test called EpiSensA. First question is, how and by whom was our validation study organized? The validation study was entirely coordinated by JaCVAM. Of course, we were supported by ICAT members. This is a member of the team. As you can see, international experts were involved in this study. And EpiSensA validation study organization is here as shown. Under the chair, several groups such as Chemical Management Group, Quality Assurance Group, and Data Analysis Group were established and conducted each task. Lead laboratory test developer has an essential role for every aspect of the validation study. In addition, selection of participating laboratory is an important task of the management team. Next question is, how and by whom was our validation study funded? Any sponsors? We, JaCVAM, applied for competitive fundings as many as possible. As a result, multi-sponsors such as Japan Chemical Industry Association, Japanese Society for Alternative to Animal Experiment, and Japan Tissue Engineering, and AMED, Japan Agency for Medical Research and Development, which is one of Japanese funding agencies, were involved in this validation. We also requested the device supplier's financial cooperation. As shown later, validation activities need many costs, so we think single sponsor is not enough. It's the tough issue whenever we conduct a validation study. Then, laboratory management design. 3 laboratories were participating in the validation study, all of which were Japanese laboratories, CRO, cosmetics, and household daily necessities, and the split of GLP. Originally, the laboratory participating in the validation study should be international, but due to the limitation of the budget and human resources, all laboratories were selected only from Japan. All participating laboratories tested all chemicals required by the VMT. The validation study was divided into some phases shown below. Next question is, how was the selection and procurement of the reference chemicals organized? The test chemicals for the validation study were selected by the chemical management team in the VMT. They are experts on the skin sensitization and chemicals. Regarding supplier identification, JaCVAM purchased all test chemicals considering on the cost and commercial availability, etc. Regarding the shipment, JaCVAM conducted both coding and decoding process and shipped these coded chemicals. Next is, what were the main organizational challenges and what solutions did we find? There were some difficulties when organizing the validation management team. Regarding international specialists, language barriers and arranging travels for face-to-face meeting, especially when pandemic, were challenging issues. Recruiting of a variety of specialists, including statisticians and experts, were also difficult. We need to care about job changes or retirement of the members. These could occur during long-term activities, and sometimes lead laboratories' willingness to take initiatives. Regarding the solution, all I can say is that for building trusting relationships with related parties, JaCVAM interacted frequently and sincerely with them, including conducting of face-to-face meetings. Then, what were the main financial challenges, and what solutions did we find? Actually, it's a very tough question. Firstly, I would like to stress that validation study needs a lot of money, which may be more than you expected. Here we show the detailed cost of the validation. For inviting specialists to Japan from abroad for both validation and peer review meetings, we spent $23,000. Regarding the experimental cost, including culture media, 3D skin models, PCR primers, and test substances, we spent $260,000. For your information, in the case of the validation for DPRA weight approach, you will find that both the cost for international transportation and its time are great amount. Chemicals were kept at the US airport for 2 months due to animal and plant quarantine procedures. For the solutions, I would like to stress that in order to find multi-sponsors, as many as possible, build good relationships with stakeholders on a daily basis. The last point we should consider is to what factors do we attribute the success of our validation study? Here, we should focus only on organizational and financial factors. In this section, first question is what would we propose to improve the funding for validation? I would like to point out that for successful validation studies, JaCVAM had a good communication with stakeholders and receives support from them. Second question is, what would we propose to improve the validation process? One of the solutions could be to minimize the number of participating laboratories and test chemicals. For this, verification of these numbers in the past validation studies is necessary. Of course, reliability and transparency are still required. Thank you for your attention. If you have any questions and opinions, please send them to us. We are very open.